It sounds like we actually got Greensheep on the line. Let's get him in here and talk about this. Greensheep, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man, congratulations on your win tonight. I know you've got to be happy about it, but, Kranich's got to be pretty happy about it as well. You are helping his playoff hopes stay alive.
Yeah, I am, I guess, since I'm out of it, but I can help Kranich along.
Yeah, I think it's really important to actually be playing that aspect. Plus, there's the performance bonus involved. So I want to talk about the queue-ups of this matchup because, frankly, I think you did an excellent job in this one. The Paladin decks in the first two, Grim Patron in Game 3, and then Warlock in Game 4. Talk to us about what thoughts are going through your head in this one.
Well, I think I've tried literally everything in HPL, and nothing seems to be working apart from the first week against Kaldi, so I just went back to comfort decks, I guess. I went back to my aggro decks such as Zoo and Paladin, and Patience all around a strong pick. I just started off with aggro Pally because I felt that was my most comfortable deck, and I got queued up into a good matchup against Zoo. I'd say that matchup's about 50-50, but I got the aggro cards out, like the True Silver and the Arcane Golem, so I went face a lot and put out early damage, so he couldn't really come back even though he had the board control. And since aggro Poly was doing fine the first game, I decided to queue it up again, and unfortunately hit the Patron that game, which is really favoured in Patron, and I don't think I had any way of winning that game. But the third queue up, since I queued aggro Poly twice already, I decided not to queue it again. I queued Patron because I thought he'd probably queue Patron again, or would probably queue another deck that's probably favoured against aggro Poly. So I hit the Patron mirror and I got a good Patron start. I got the 4 Patrons on turn 5 with the Inner Rage and Deathbite effect. So I got a really early lead. I managed to finish up that game pretty fast. And I figured that he'd probably think, the last game, he'd probably think I'll play the Patron again, or probably play maybe the aggro Pally, or even like shake it up a bit with like Handlock or Control Warrior, since I've been playing that the past few weeks. So I thought he'd probably play either Patron again or Druid. So I went with the Zoo because Zoo has a really good matchup against Druid, and it has a 50-50 matchup, I'd say, against Patron as well. And luckily I queued into the Druid, and that's pretty favoured for me. And it turned out I won, which is pretty great.
So as you said, you've tried everything so far here in the season, and some things just haven't really seemed to work so far. We haven't heard a lot from you here this season. With your record at what it was coming into this round, do you ever get discouraged in HPL? Like, do you find yourself not caring as much about matches, or like how do you handle this kind of adversity? Because frankly, you've been doing pretty well outside of it. You did just have a big tournament win as well.
Yeah, well, like every match I go into HPL, like even though I'm out of playoffs right now, I really want to win because like after before this match 1-9 I was at that didn't look great, and I wouldn't want to end the season going 1-15. So I definitely care about every single match, and I probably want to end the season on a respectable score. Probably win the rest of my games and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this one too. No one wants to be last place in it, and the DreamHack win. It's showing you that sort of the difference too between a typical lineup, which is something that you've practiced for a lot, and then the HPL meta. And this is something I want to talk to you a little bit about. What's your take on the HPL format, and sort of what adjustments have you had to make to your game to compensate for that?
Well, the HPL format's really different, since in Conquest, like once your opponent's won with a deck, then they can't play it again. But in HPL, if someone has a really strong deck and has found a really strong deck and keeps playing that deck, they can just play it as many times as they want. So like you definitely have to take into account that the decks that they've already played and already won with, as well as all the other decks that they can play. So I think it's really hard that if one person knows they've got a really strong deck, for your opponent to actually counter that deck, since they're really confident on that deck and they might even be able to 3-0 with that deck. So I think with HPL, I've gone back to like my comfort picks because I feel I'm really confident on that. I tried a lot of other decks and they haven't worked out, so I think relying on comfort picks is a strategy that you can probably use in HPL.
Well, you know what? I love seeing you back in the winner's circle, but your next matchup is against ECOP. You said you wanted to win all of your matches, for your own personal record, but this is another match that is really important to your teammate here in Kranich because he and ECOP, he's turning his season around and making that late push for the playoffs. It's really important that you beat him.
Well, I'll try my best, but we'll see.
Well, soft-spoken and very confident. I love to hear anything from you because you're just such a bright young guy and you have such a good future ahead of you. You keep up the hard work that you've been putting on. Congratulations on your win tonight in HPL.
Thanks.